friend. Sing Hosanna, Hosanna, hallelujah, hallelujah. Alama, Yaba, Alama. In the sanctuary of our Lord's protection, and the stronghold of our Lord's defense, with His love our spirits are illumined, as we glorify His name, our hearts are blessed. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, my morning, my friend. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, my friend, my friend. I added an extra fill.
I noticed.
And you know, our Zoom camera is a little bit off. And since this is the one that they post on YouTube, I think it would be a good idea. Good morning, Nevada. If we kind of adjusted that. Yeah, just I'm the one that set that up, so it's my fault. If you could just yes, because we're not quite centered. There we go. That's good. I don't know. Is that good?
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ah, ah.
So, good morning, everyone out there
Yes.
in
Good morning,
Zoom land
everyone.
and Facebook land.
Yes. Hello. 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 You know what? I'm going to break my own rule. I'm going to see who these people are. I don't. Hang on. I just want to see
So,
who is the first. Brian. Brenda. No, Brenda. Brenda's watching. And over here we've got Vicky, and we've got Pam, and we've got us. We're in the Zoom, and we've got Utah, and we've got the Clearwater Baha'is, and I think there's one or two other people. And yeah, that probably wasn't a good idea, but it's done now.
it's kind of late, but
It's done now.
that's all right.
How you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing okay. How
You
are
doing
you?
good?
Yeah, I'm good.
And how are you doing over there, Jeremiah? He's good. Jeremiah goes mute when once we and Nevada is joining us. How are you this morning, Nevada? We're so glad you're here.
Good morning.
Yes, yes, yes. Ah,
Okay, so we're going to start with, like we do every week, with a prayer. I have one here. He is the mighty, the pardoner, the compassionate. O God, my God, thou beholdest thy servants in the abyss of perdition and error. Where is thy light of divine guidance, O thou, the desire of the world? Thou knowest their helplessness and their feebleness. Where is thy power, O thou whose grasp lie the powers of heaven and earth? I ask thee, O Lord, my God, by the splendor of the lights of thy loving kindness and the billows of the ocean of thy knowledge and wisdom, and by thy word wherewith thou hast swayed the peoples of thy dominion, to grant that I may be one of them that have observed thy bidding in thy book. And do thou ordain for me that which thou hast ordained for thy trusted ones, them that have quaffed the wine of divine inspiration from the chalice of thy bounty, and hasten to do thy pleasure, and observe thy covenant and testament. Powerful art thou to do as thou willest. There is none other God but thee, the all knowing, the all wise. Decree for me by thy bounty, O Lord, that which shall prosper me in this world and hereafter, and shall draw me nigh unto thee. O thou who art the Lord of all men, there is none other God but thee, the one, the mighty, the glorified. And this is a prayer by Baha'u'llah.
Thank you very much, Daryl.
You're
And folks,
welcome.
as you know, we are still studying and coming near the end now of Baha'u'llah and the New Era by J.E. Esselmont, an introduction to the Baha'i Faith. And we always like to point out that for anyone who is curious or interested in knowing more about the Baha'i Faith, this is a wonderful resource. And for those seasoned Baha'is, this is still a wonderful resource. It just
And
is.
reference.
Yes, yeah, it's a wonderful reference. Um, this book answers so many questions before they're even asked. It's just a phenomenal reference. And today we are actually coming to the end of the chapter on religion and science, and it's sort of a deeper explanation of one of the precepts of the Baha'i faith, uh, uh, brought in by the Prophet Baha'u'llah, where he pointed out that religion and science should and do agree. Okay. And of course, we're talking about, well, no, I
Excuse me.
could I could go on and expound on that, but I won't. Religion and the agreement between religion and science. And so in this chapter, we've come to the last section of this chapter, which is the era of unity. And I got to tell you, Daryl, I was reading this. It is difficult to read this and to watch the news.
You
To
think so?
read this because they seem so far apart from one another. I mean, to see the state of the world as it is today, and then to read that we are living in the era of unity.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying there's almost a kind of a cognitive dissonance that seems to set up the era of unity, and then you look at what's going on around the globe, and it's how can this be the era of unity? But please, maybe you can help me have a deeper understanding.
Well, I'm going to kind of switch things up this morning and ask that you start reading.
Or you want me to start?
Yes.
No. Okay, I'll start reading. The era of unity. I should point out this is basically just one page. I kind of felt,
Yes.
when I turned it and saw the one, that's it? Wait a minute, there should be more. But anyway, here we go. The era of unity. All the signs of the times indicate that we are at the dawn of a new era in the history of mankind. Hmm? We are at the dawn of a new era in the history of mankind. Hitherto, the young eagle of humanity has clung to the old eyrie in the solid rock of selfishness and materialism. Hitherto, I'll repeat that, the young eagle of humanity has clung to the old eyrie in the solid rock of selfishness and materialism. It attempts to use its wings. I'm sorry,
Its
its
attempts.
attempts to use its wings have been timid and tentative. It has had restless longings for something still unattained. More and more, it has been chafing in the confinement of the old dogmas and orthodoxies. There you go. More and more, it has been chafing in the confinement of the old dogmas and orthodoxies. But now, the era of confinement is at an end, and it can launch on the wings of faith and reason into the higher realms of spiritual love and truth. I'm going to say that again. And yeah, my voice does still have that crackle in it. I apologize if that's annoying anyone. It's annoying me. But let's go on. But now the era of confinement is at an end, and it can launch on the wings of faith and reason into the higher realms of spiritual love and truth. It will no longer be earthbound. And we need to kind of make sure that everyone understands that it is this eagle that is referred to as humanity. It will no longer be earthbound as it was before its wings had grown, but will soar at will to the regions of wide outlook and glorious freedom. One thing is necessary, however, if its flight is to be sure and steady. One thing is necessary, however, if its flight is to be sure and steady. Its wings must not only be strong, but they must act in perfect harmony and coordination. Why am I pausing there? Because to me, that is that's a heavy statement. Its wings must not only be strong, but they must act in perfect harmony and coordination. I'm gonna stop here, and I gotta. Why? What's wrong with just having strong wings? I mean, eh, not only be strong, but they must act in perfect harmony and coordination. Isn't that kind of hard to accomplish? I mean, I feel like strong wings is that a bad thing? Having strong wings?
No.
No. And of course, I'm playing devil's advocate. It's not saying that. It's saying it's not enough just to have strong wings. We can be, and right now I feel like we're the bull in the china shop. You know, its wings must not only be strong, but they must act in perfect harmony and coordination. As Abdul Baha says, it cannot fly with one wing alone. If it tries to fly, oh my goodness, if it tries to fly with the wing of religion alone, it will land in the slough of superstition. And if it tries to fly with the wing of science alone, it will end in the dreary bog of materialism. Those are our choices. No, actually, there are three choices, maybe even more than three, but three major choices. We can fly with the wing of religion alone, land in the slough of superstition. We can try to fly with the wing of science alone, land in the dreary bog of materialism, as Abdul Baha states. Or we can try to fly in perfect harmony and coordination. Perfect harmony between religion and science is the sine qua non of the higher life for humanity. I had to look that up. I don't know about anyone else, but sine qua non, it's Latin. It means very essential. It is absolutely essential. Perfect harmony between religion and science is the sine qua non of the higher life for humanity. When that is achieved, and every child is trained not only in the study of the sciences and arts, but equally in love to all mankind and in radiant acquiescence to the will of God as revealed in the progress of evolution and the teachings of the prophets, then and not till then shall the kingdom of God come and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Then and not till then shall the most great peace shed its blessings on the world. And yes, I am going to read that long sentence again. Well, I'll just read the paragraph. Perfect harmony between religion and science is the sine qua non of the higher life for humanity. It's absolutely essential. When that is achieved, and every child is trained not only in the study of the sciences and arts, but equally in love to all mankind, has to be trained in that way too, trained in love to all mankind, and in radiant acquiescence to the will of God, acquiescence, giving your will over to God, in radiant acquiescence to the will of God as revealed in the progress of evolution and the teachings of the prophets, then and not till then shall the kingdom of God come, and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Then, and not till then, shall the most great peace shed its blessings on the world. When religion, says Abdul Baha, when religion, shorn of its superstitions, traditions, and unintelligent dogmas, I'm sorry, this is,
Mm.
yes, I've read it, but, and this is the last paragraph of this section, but this really wraps it up beautifully. When religion, says Abdul Baha, shorn, with all this stuff cut off, shorn of its superstitions, traditions, and unintelligent dogmas, shows its conformity with science, then there will be a great unifying, cleansing force in the world, which will sweep before it all wars, disagreements, discords, and struggles. And then will mankind be united in the power of the love of God. That's too long to put on a bumper sticker,
You think?
but I think it should be on, I don't know, a sign, something, signs all over the place. I mean, because obviously, Abdul Baha, obviously, son of Baha'u'llah, very religious man. And yet he's pointing out that, well, number one, you can get it wrong with religion. I think that's one of those things that in Baha'i circles,
Well,
certain ways we talk about that quite a bit. You can get it wrong with religion. And we see examples of that. We've seen examples of that down through history to the point that some people just throw their hands up and say it's all garbage anyway.
sure.
But Abdul Baha points out, and these are my words, there's a way to get it right. There's a way to balance the two, religion and science. Too much science, too much materialism. Too much religion, too much superstition. But he says when religion, shorn of its superstitions, traditions, and unintelligent dogmas, shows its conformity with science, then there will be a great unifying, cleansing force in the world, which will sweep before it all wars, disagreements, discords, and struggles. And then will mankind be united in the power of the love of God.
And what I will say is that as much as this clears it up, kind of, it says to me that we've got a long way to go.
Oh man, golly.
we've,
Don't we
we've
though?
got a long way to go because we are mired in all the differences between religion and science.
Yeah. And when you
And
say, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, please finish.
I'm done.
Oh, I heard and. No, I mean, when you say the differences, I'm also thinking the perversions, especially the perversions of religion. Let's face it, science can also be perverted. Perverted science is not science. It's stuff that masquerades as science.
Sure.
But you can even take, let's say, accurate science that is because they're both ways of seeking truth. Religion, looking at the spiritual side, science, and let's face it, science is not non-spiritual. It's just a different approach.
Right.
And when we put them together in the right way, well, then something beautiful, beautiful things happen. But when people turn their back on one or the other, it sets the stage for terrible things to happen.
Well, all too often we wrap science in materialism.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
says that, you can't have one without the other and still have unity.
And
It's,
yeah, yeah. I am often uh, amazed, maybe often, I am sometimes amazed at how things that I've been taught for millennia through approaches to religion have often been proven through science to have great value to the
sure.
human experience. And before we had the science to examine and study and so forth, a lot of times there were people were simply being taught, do this, do this, it's good for you, do this. Oh, why is it good? Well, God says, or whatever the case may be. And then we find out, yeah, that, if we would apply that, the scientific studies have now been shown that this is a good thing. And unfortunately, there are those people that say, "Well, since science says it, okay, it's valuable." But if religion said it, no, it has no value. No, they work together. Okay, I'm going to shut up, Daryl.
Okay.
It's your turn.
Next chapter. Next chapter is talking about prophecies fulfilled by the Baha'i movement. Prophecies fulfilled by the Baha'i movement. As to the manifestation of the greatest name, Baha'u'llah, this is he whom God promised in all his books and scriptures, such as the Bible, the Gospels, and the Quran. That's according to Abdul Baha.
Yeah, you quoted Abdul Baha. Could you please read that again?
Sure.
And do me a favor. Read it slower. Because you know what? I mean, think about we have so often we've talked about manifestations of God, manifestations of God. Anyone who has listened to us or gone to enough Baha'i gatherings, they've heard that term, manifestations of God. They know the prophets are the greater prophets are manifestations of God. Well, this statement from Abdul Baha says something special about Baha'u'llah. That's why I want you to read it again.
As to the manifestations of the greatest name, Baha'u'llah, this is he whom God promised in all his books and scriptures, such as the Bible, the Gospels, and the Quran.
You know, I was looking and I was thinking there maybe there's a little.
Should I read it slower for
No, I was looking
you?
and I was thinking, well, maybe there's a little. I mean, there's no apology here.
No, not
There's
at all.
no softening. It is just boom.
Yeah,
That's why I feel it's an important statement. It is absolute in the way that it's stated.
sure.
I promise not to interrupt you for the next 3 minutes,
Three whole
maybe three
minutes?
whole minutes. I
Okay.
might break my promise. I'll try not to.
Interpretation of prophecy. The interpretation of prophecy is notoriously difficult, and on no subject do the opinions of the learned differ more widely. This is not to be wondered at, for, in according to the revealed writings themselves, many of the prophecies were given in such a form that they could not be fully understood until the fulfillment came, and even then, only by those who were pure in heart and free from prejudice.
Hmm.
Thus, at the end of Daniel's visions, the seer was told, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go away, Daniel.
No, go thy way.
Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. This is from Daniel. If God sealed up the prophecies until the appointed time and did not fully reveal the interpretation, even to the prophets who uttered them, we may expect that none but the appointed messenger of God will be able to break the seal and disclose the meanings concealed in the casket of the prophetic parables. Reflection on the history of prophecies and their misinterpretation in previous ages and dispensations, combined with the solemn warnings of the prophets themselves, should render us very, I'm sorry,
Cherry.
should render us very chary of accepting the speculation of the theologians as to the real meaning of these utterances and the manner of their fulfillment.
Daryl, has it been 3 minutes yet?
No.
Okay,
On the
I'm
other
breaking my
hand,
promise because I want to say that word cherry is very, very important. I had never heard or seen that word before. Chary. It means we should be suspicious.
yes, yes,
Suspicious. You know, I mean, we should be suspicious of the. Where was
of
it again? It should
accepting
render
the
us.
speculations of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
theologians as to the real meaning of these utterances and the manner of their fulfillment.
Hmm.
On the other hand, when someone appears who claims to fulfill prophecies, it is important that we examine his claim with open, unprejudiced minds. Should he be an impostor, the fraud will soon be discovered, and no harm will be done. But to all who carelessly turn God's messenger But woe to all who carelessly turn God's messengers from the door because he comes in an unexpected form or time.
He comes in an
Unexpected
unexpected
form or
form or
time.
time.
Should he be an impostor, the fraud will soon be discovered and no harm will be done. But woe to all who carelessly turns God's messenger from the door because he comes in an unexpected form or time. What do you think that unexpected form is?
I just think someone that you're not expecting. I really do. I mean, it doesn't fit our preconceived notions of whatever it's supposed to be, whoever it's supposed to look like, whatever the name is supposed to be, whatever, again, we have been told by lesser people, shall
Well,
we
isn't
say.
isn't that a universal problem with religion, with most religious issues?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
people, let's look at when Jesus walked the earth. Okay, and people saw Jesus, they thought he was just a man.
exactly.
The same thing applies to most of the manifestations of God because when people saw them, they saw something in a human form, and that was not what they expected.
Yes, yes.
So, this is saying basically that we need to be careful, but examine,
Yeah, yeah.
to
And
make
I
sure.
got to tell you again, growing up in a particular religious tradition, which I've talked about multiple times, it's very powerful when you see paintings and so forth of things that that defy science when you get right
Right,
down to it. But when you see and you get the stories that go along with it, and then and you get this sense of history, whether it's accurate or not, and then along comes someone who tells you about a something that is or a being that is completely different from what you expect. It is it's very difficult to remain open-minded, and because you can still pick up your bags once you've listened
yeah,
and examined. You can pick up your baggage, I should say, and you still got that baggage. But it is a challenge, and that is part of the challenge, to put aside, as it pointed out, our prejudices, our preconceived notions, and examine the claims.
exactly. The life and utterances of Baha'u'llah testify that he is the promised one of all the holy books. Who has the power to break the seals of the prophecies and to pour forth the sealed choice wine of the divine mysteries? Let us hasten then to hear his explanations and to re examine in their light the familiar but often mysterious words spoken by the prophets of old. I think it's time for some choice
I thought you were going to say
wine.
that. Let me get a drink here real quick, man, because my throat is so. Uh, One thing about doing this at home, lozenges. I have lozenges at home. I should have thought to grab some before I left. Daryl, in his reading, mentioned choice wine, and this song is called Choice Wine. Joyce Wine.
Tony, that song was beautiful, but your voice was just a whisper.
It was just a whisper. Today,
Just
that's
a
a good thing.
whisper. Couldn't hear the words. I
Is
love
that
that song.
better? It's
That's
the
that's
microphone.
perfect.
You can hear me better now.
Yes.
Well, I guess we have to do that whole thing all over again. Let's go ahead and sorry about that. You see, you hear that? Actually, I don't think I was singing as loud as I normally do either, because of my little throat thing I have going on here. Continue.
Oh, why don't you finish the last section here?
Oh, where
Coming
were
of
we?
the Lord.
The coming. Come in, folks.
Coming of the
The
Lord.
next section that we're about to read, this final section for today, is the coming of the Lord. The coming of the Lord, that's in quotes, in the last days in quotes, is the one far off divine event, also in quotes, to which all the prophets look forward, about which their most glorious songs are sung. I'll read that again without all the in quotes. The coming of the Lord in the last days is the one far off divine event to which all the prophets look forward, about which their most glorious songs are sung. Now, what is meant by the coming of the Lord? Surely, God is at all times with his creatures, in all, through all, and over all. Closer is he than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, also in quotes. Yes, but men cannot see or hear God immanent and transcendent through all things. Men cannot see or hear God immanent and transcendent, cannot realize his presence until he reveals himself through a visible form and talks to them in human language. Men cannot see or hear God immanent and transcendent, cannot realize his presence until he reveals himself through a visible form and talks to them in human language. For the revelation of his higher attributes, God has always made use of a human instrument. Hmm. Each of the prophets was a mediator through whom God visited and spoke to his people. Jesus was such a mediator, and the Christians have rightly regarded his appearance as a coming of God. In him, they saw the face of God, and through his lips, they heard the voice of God. Baha'u'llah tells us that the coming of the Lord of hosts, the everlasting Father, the maker and redeemer of the world, which according to all the prophets is to take place at the time of the end, means no other than his manifestation in a human temple, as he manifested through the temple of Jesus of Nazareth. Only this time with a fuller and more glorious revelation, for which Jesus and all the former prophets came to prepare men's hearts and minds. I know we're short on time, but I'm going to read that long sentence again because to me, ah, I think that's why we're sitting here. Baha'u'llah tells us that the coming of the Lord of hosts, the everlasting Father, the maker and redeemer of the world, which according to all the prophets is to take place at the time of the
The
end,
end.
means no other than his manifestation in a human temple as he manifested through the temple of Jesus of Nazareth. only this time with a fuller and more glorious revelation, for which Jesus and all the former prophets came to prepare men's hearts and minds. We're going to stop there. Next week, we're going to be reading about prophecies about
Of
Christ.
Christ.
Yeah,
Yes.
prophecies about Christ. So, with that being said, hopefully you've gotten a lot of food for thought from today's readings. And now the time has come, as it always does, for anyone who would choose to share a prayer or reading or song of your choosing. This is that time. I don't know. Is Andy with us, Jeremiah? Andy's not with us today. Okay. So anyone who would like to share a prayer or song or reading of your choosing, this is that time. Anyone,
Sure, I'll go ahead and share one for you.
please.
O thou kind Lord, this gathering is turning to thee. These hearts are radiant with thy love. These minds and spirits are exhilarated by the message of thy glad tidings. O God, sorry, let this American democracy become glorious in spiritual degrees, even as it has aspired to material degrees, and render this just government victorious. Confirm this reverend nation to upraise the standard of the oneness of humanity, to promulgate the most great peace, to become thereby the most glorious and praiseworthy among all the nations of the world. O God, this American nation is worthy of its favors and is deserving of thy mercy. Make it precious and near to thee through thy bounty and bestowal. And this is a prayer from Abdul Baha. I think this was revealed in New York.
Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I have awakened in thy shelter, O my God. And it becometh him that seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being, O my Lord, with the splendors of the dayspring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor.
Here am I, O Lord of all, O Lord of all that is in heaven. Here am I, O Lord of all that is in heaven and that is on earth. Here am I, here am I, here am I, O Lord of all. Here am I, O Lord of all that is in heaven and that is on earth. Here am I, O Lord of all that is in heaven and that is on earth. Here am I, O Lord of all. I thought we had a little extra time, so
Okay.
we always like to remind people that this, of course, is not just a couple of guys that decided we'd get online and start sharing the Baha'i faith. This is something that Baha'is all over the world do in one way or another, some through actual teaching, as we try to do, and some through simply the way they live their lives and hopefully serving as a positive example. But it is a group effort. It's a joint effort. Multiple people from different communities. Jeremiah's over there from one community. Daryl's from a different community. Nevada's here. She does an awful lot around here at the Baha'i Center, and that's where we're coming to you from. It's from the Baha'i Center. And there are other people involved in this effort, and we always like to point that out. And if you want more information regarding the Baha'i faith, what do they do about that, Daryl?
There are some definitive websites where you can go and get more information,
Mhm.
and they are www.baha'i.us, www.baha'i.org, www.bahaiteachings.org. And if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay or Clearwater area, you can always go to the Clearwater Baha'i website at www.clearwaterbaha'is.org.
Yes. And again, there of course are others, but these are some that we know are 100% valid and accurate. And nothing. There's no misinformation or disinformation there. So that's why we really like to really. I know you can't see this as clearly as we'd like, but and Andy's not here. Not Andy. Pete's not here to be able to put it right up on screen. But yeah, and yeah, if you'd like more information there, and bottom line is there are places you can go online, and you might even have some Baha'is living, near you that you can uh, talk to about the faith. It's not unusual that we, do what we call firesides in people's homes, where, it's just in the comfort of people's homes. They're willing to, just explore the faith, talk a little more about it. We don't go knocking on doors or anything like that, but we plan to group gatherings and so forth. Um, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and let me put that aside. And
What I will tell you
please
is
tell them, because we need them to hear it. We definitely need them to hear it.
I will tell you is that in today's world, and what I mean today's world, I mean today's world, this day, if you happen to be one of those individuals who is loved, I will tell you that you are extremely blessed. And it's one of those blessings that all you can do is accept it. But it really becomes uh, extremely important and becomes more of a blessing if you take that love and you share it with your world. And the only thing I'm going to ask you to do from this day forward, it's very easy. It's not going to cost you anything. And I guarantee you, if you do it, the world around you will be a much better place to be. All I'm going to ask you to do is share the love. Really simple, really smart, and can't help but make the world better. Thank you all for joining us today.
That's not right. That's not right.
That's not right.
Thought we're going to rock and roll today.
I don't know what that was about. And well, just hang on, folks. And you said that so nicely, Daryl, and I totally just ruined the vibe there, didn't I? I really, really did. Okay. There we go. O people of justice, be as brilliant as the light, and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush, the brightness and the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and governments of the earth. Whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin, we beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily hath power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your world watch over yourself, for the evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surrounded you. Let your vision be world-embracing, rather than confined to your own self. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. Be Folks, have a good week. Spread the love. Hope to see you here again next Sunday. Take care.
Take care.